You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
All right, what's good, everybody? It is Tuesday, July 16th, and I won't lie, Rosie. You tried to sweep something under the rug today, man. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, buddy.
July 16th, that rings a bell. Yeah, I don't know. I've been able to go under the radar usually. I don't know why guys do that, but just, I don't know, don't announce myself that it's my birthday, but Twitter got a hold of it probably from you guys and some other thing. And yeah, it's the well wishes are coming in, which is much appreciated.
I'll be honest. The only reason why I knew is because I woke up today, I flipped on Twitter and some random algorithm got a hold of my phone and some Flyers podcast wished you a happy birthday. And that's how I knew. And then it set off a chain of events that led me to wish you a happy birthday.
Well, that's a nice gesture. Yeah, I'm on the good side of 40 still, but time's ticking along here, man. I'm not your age anymore.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I'm not any younger. I'm turning 35 on August 7th, man. It's pretty crazy. August 7th, I'm putting together a little birthday bash to commemorate 35 years on this planet. But you're right. I mean, life just starts moving really, really fast in your 30s, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And you throw kids in the mix, man. It's a blur. And I mean, people that don't have kids or they're a little bit younger are probably rolling their eyes going, God, why do old people say that all the time? But I mean, you have this little kid and then just a blink of an eye, all of a sudden it's like a full grown kid, and then a blink of an eye and they're like this half teenager. And then I'm sure it just keeps going on and on. All of a sudden you're alone and miserable and useless.
Okay, it's not gotten to that point. I think we have an almost award-winning podcast that we're working about here on Leafs Morning Take. So welcome back to the show. I know you've been gone for a week. First and foremost, I was going to mention my birthday gift for you was going to be a happy birthday courtesy the girl who sang the anthem yesterday at the home run derby. Did you catch that? They're calling it the worst anthem of all time.
I know. I think she took the title from Fergie from years back.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, she seemed pretty serious about it. Like, it wasn't a joke. She wasn't there to butcher it on purpose. She thinks she's good, but that was like every octave you could hit, she hit, and none of it was on purpose. It was all it was all over the place. It was impressive. Like, I've been on the bench a few times where you bury your head laughing because like this poor little thing in Lord knows where, some little bum, what town, some child's trying to get it off and it's bad and you kind of can't help but smile. But that was like world stage MLB All-Star game, the worst I've ever seen. And yeah, Twitter was on fire with it because it was as bad as you could imagine.
Is there no like screening process like that? That's my wonder. In Toronto, we have the luxury of having Natalie Morris sing the anthem. She's outstanding. Martina Ortiz-Louise before that. Like we're not really privy to this type of stuff. It always seems like it happens in the States. Don't get me wrong. It happens in Canada sometimes, but is there no screening process for somebody who is singing your national anthem at the home run derby? That's my giant question here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the PR teams of each team would probably do it differently, but this is like of the league, the All-Star game. So you'd probably have some like thrown together team that's doing it just for that weekend. And although that's a pretty big deal, I mean, whatever, this pretty girl who comes up and says, I'm a singer, and she kind of gets in there. And yeah, what are you going to do? Stand at the office and say, hold on, well, sing me a couple of bars or something to make sure. I don't know. You just kind of take someone's word for it. If they're willing to get in front of 60 or 70,000 or whatever is in that barn and do it, you'd think they know how to sing. But once in a while they slip through, man. That was incredible. They can go wrong for like two reasons, like just be a terrible singer like that, or else have a total hiccup and like forget the words or something. And I'll never forget that lady. It was like 2000s or something. She came out to sing during Team Canada's, I'm not sure if it was at the Olympics or preliminaries, or it might have been World Cup, World Championship, something like that. Comes out to sing, forgets the words, and then just completely blanks and stops dead and goes, I'm sorry, and then goes back in the tunnel and then like gets herself, regathers herself. Someone convinces her to go back out and just finish it. You'll be happy if you do. She goes out, steps on the carpet on the ice. It slips out from under her. She lands on her ass and her back and like cracks her head. And then she's just done for the night. It's the most painful thing I've ever watched. I felt so bad for her.
Yeah, that's tough to come back from when you gather yourself back the strength to do it and then you trip and it's like, oh, ball game over. It leads me to the question, like when you played, is there a time you remember or a moment you remember where it was just like utterly butchered or it was embarrassing from the anthem singer? Like, do you recall a time like that in your playing days?
I remember Brett Kissel played for a Leafs game, and he always does it good. And he does it a lot now and nails it. And he's got his guitar with his hat hanging off the end of it and stuff. Got kind of a spiel going, but he just butchered the words. I think it was the American national anthem and just kind of screwed it up. Not a huge deal, but he was in the room after going, I never thought I would be that guy, but I was. And we chuckled and said, hey, shit happens out there. But kudos to those people to get out in front of that many people, and you think you know that a song off by heart, and you do, but then when you're out there thinking about it and everyone's staring at you and you're right in that big, the bottom of a stadium, I can see how things go south, but not much of an excuse for that girl last night.
Yeah, I feel for her, man. Social media, the memes, like anything that happens in this world, social media just reacts accordingly. And I think if I were her, I would stay off social for maybe 2 years after what happened at the home run derby. Maybe that's combo tonight with the All-Star game. But my remedy would be 50 Cent. Did you catch this the other day? 50 Cent. Weird, though, like trolling Bruins fans by donning a Leafs hat during a concert in Boston. There's so many layers to this. I don't know if you see it the same way as me. Is it really trolling Boston when that franchise owns the Maple Leafs?
Well, first of all, he's doing the many men tried to wish death
Which is
upon
great.
me
Yeah.
50
Yeah.
with Trump's head on the back of his old album. So that was like the day of or day after Trump got a shot ripped at him. So kind of crazy there. And then so I just saw it because all of that shit's all over my Twitter. He put that, face on his album, on his thinger. And then I look closer and I'm like, he's got his Leafs hat on. And then I read it's in Boston. Makes no sense, really. So I do love it that a guy of that stature would rock a Leafs bucket, would know or care enough to know that they're rivals. But then, yeah, like not much of a, shade thrown at Boston, considering, like you said, they own the Maple Leafs and there's a laundry list of heartbreaking, soul-crushing, smashing losses that they've taken to Boston. But nonetheless, I like that Fitty goes out there and throws that shade. We should try and get him on the show. That's your job, Nick. You are the king of that stuff.
I love when you actually wrote that in our chat and you were serious about it. Dude, it's 1 in a billion that I would even get a hold of 50 Cent's representatives. But I think everything comes full circle. We talk about the shitty anthem singer. 50 Cent threw one of the worst first pitches of all time.
Yeah.
I think it was in the Mets Stadium a couple years back. You remember that? He's a lefty.
I do. Dude, it's like how do you go through your whole life? Like, do you see how jacked that guy is? And like, he's been in the gym, he's had some sort of coordination, obviously. But to throw a ball, the most simplest thing you could do as a child, you pick up a rock, throw the rock. And it's like he did it like the same foot and the same arm. And like, it was like, wow, you really don't know how to throw anything? That's kind of wild. And I was very surprised. And he's up there with one of the all-time worst opening pitches too.
Yeah, exactly that. So if you're hoping for a 50 Cent involvement on Leafs Morning Take, it's probably a pipe dream. I will try my best, but if I'm sitting here with a serious face right now and I think 50 Cent was behind wearing the Maple Leafs cap during the Bruins concert, I just can't buy it. I think member of the PR or something. But yeah, it is a weird troll. Like, you rarely see that where somebody pulls up in Boston wearing a Maple Leafs hat. And all I could think about, and again, the Bruins have had Toronto's number for the last 20, 25 years. Do Bruins fans even care if 50 Cent, 25 years removed from stardom, does that? Like, I honestly think he did that just to get people like us talking about it.
I don't even know if he knew what he was doing or if someone chucked that hat up there and he threw it on. I don't know. It seems weird. Why would you do that? It would have been so much wickeder if the Leafs had won in Game 7.
I know.
And then that would have been the ultimate, now we're on top. But no, that didn't happen.
Hey, you know what's wicked? I think that's the exact, the hat I showed you I bought in New York like a month and a half ago, the Leafs hat that I wore over the weekend that I posted a picture of. I think it's that exact Mitchell and Ness hat, man.
Same Bucky. See, now you've got the in to his camp. Now they'll totally answer you because of
Dude,
the
that
whole
hat is
hat
money in the
situation.
bank. It's really, really nice. If you have a chance to go to the NHL store in New York, that's where I copped it. I'm sure you can buy it online somewhere. It's a really nice, like it's like a trucker hat, but it's like the nice white and blue color. Like it's sort of vintage looking. I really, really like it. So 50 cents on our good side. Very unlikely that we can find a way to get him on this podcast. Man, this guy's doing like events for presidential candidates. You think he's going to come on Leafs Morning Take?
Yes, I do. I don't know how you get all the guests we get on this damn show. So just do more of that. And just step it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know if I can find somebody with a contact for 50 cent, but hey, that's what summer's for, and that's what the shitty weather is for in Toronto. I got to do some digging on that front. Maybe we get 50 cent on this podcast. But nevertheless, if you're watching right now, welcome. It's Jay Rosehill's birthday. We're going to have a little fun on today's show at the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com before we start the program. Rosie, what have you been up to for like the last week and a half? It's been a while.
Well, I mangled my back really bad, which was not awesome, and it's constant. It's constant, but stay on top of that. And then last week had to run to Vancouver to visit my in-laws and see my wife's family, and it was 38 degrees there the entire time. So I was in the sun, raccoon eyes going on. And yeah, just trying to kind of mix in a little bit of everything. And like I said, stay on top of the back's kind of been taking up a lot of my time, but enjoying the hot weather, enjoying the summer. Favorite time of year. My birthday today. So yeah, we're all good, man. I'm just enjoying the family and everything else.
Good to hear. I was looking forward to summer, but a couple days into summer with no Leafs news, and I'm really, really bored, man. I've watched so much reality TV. I've had a lot of ice cream, dates, always fun. Hit the town a couple times, but we're sitting here in mid-July, and I won't lie, I'm kind of bored. There's not much news out there when it comes to the NHL, the Maple Leafs. As I've disclosed to you, I'm going to Europe, but that's not happening for over a month. I leave like August 22nd or 23rd. So a lot of downtime, which, again, I was looking forward to, but now that it's here, not so much, especially with the weather in Toronto, man. It's been raining cats and dogs for the last like 3 or 4 days.
I heard that. That's kind of brutal. You guys got spring a lot earlier than we did out west, so I was
True.
jealous of you. But right now, there's no wind, there's no clouds. It is just baking hot, more of what you guys used to. But it's dry. It's not as muggy as it is out there for you guys. I remember being in Toronto.
Yeah.
I think I only touched like June or something like that the one time. I haven't really been there in the summer, and it was like soaking through your shirt all the time. So I wasn't in love with that, but I'm kind of a prairie boy and used to the dry heat. But nonetheless, summer's summer, man. Pick your chin up. You got a big trip coming ahead, and there's about to be some huge world-breaking news just on the cusp of being released at some point this month from the Maple Leafs.
Oh, is that what you're hearing? You're an insider now, right?
Yeah, right. No, I'm not, man. I'm same thing. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I thought there was going to be some big moves. It doesn't look like I do like their back end. I like their blue line. Lots of, excitement / question marks, anticipation for the goaltending position up front. Not a lot of change. I'm of the ilk where, you can't tell me if this team is better or worse. You can't tell me if this team can get it done or not. We know about, how many times they've tried to run it with these, the main 4 guys, got it. Thought there'd be some change and maybe mix it up enough to say this team is definitely different. But we got Craig Berube at the helm now, going to kind of create a different identity. There's lots of reasons why this team could be completely different than last year. And that's not because the names on paper are so drastically different, but you moved enough things around. You got a new guy at the helm. I could see this team just having a different outlook on life, a different mentality. You look at teams in the past or teams where I've been part of, and it's like little tweaks, and all of a sudden the next year, it's just like everything looks different. Everything feels different, especially with the coach kind of changing the way you go about your business every single day. So reason to be excited, but I did think that throughout the summer, there was going to be more happening. Like I thought there'd be a bigger splash. I thought, they said we are going to kind of put a facelift on this thing. And maybe this is them saying they did. Maybe there's more to come. I don't know, but it's kind of a boring time this year, which it tends to be when you don't make a big splash.
Yeah, you're right. It's one of those off seasons we've been waiting for a bit of fireworks from this team, and the longer it goes on, the more unlikely it's to happen. Never say never, but the big thing again that sticks out for me is that they're going to run it back with the core four, which I think we both agreed was the definition of insanity. They're going to do it. If you look at some of the comments they've made, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind it's happening. It is what it is, and I think you rest on the laurels that Craig Berube, a new head coach, can get and extract the most out of these guys in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The thing that gets me is that we're going to have to wait like 8 months, 9 months till we truly find out if any difference has been made, Rosie. That's like 8 months of content, man. That's a lot of 50-cent talk.
Yeah, and I know you think that way and you've been in this boat so much, but I would like to see, before that, post training camp, first 10 games of the season, does this look different? Does this feel different? Do they have a different attitude? Can you see that? Is it palpable? Are they playing a different style under Craig Berube? What do these D-men look like? And how about Joseph Woll? Is he looking like he is a number one guy? Does Stoley, the goalie, get in there and reprieve him a little bit? And does he look good? He's a monster, Stoley. I know him. Neither of them have experience out the wazoo, but you don't get that without going and getting it. So they're going to get it this year. And I'm just, there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to looking at. I understand the big prize is in 8 months after the season, but that will come. We will find that out. But in between then, I got a lot of things I'd like to look at, a lot of things I'd like to see. Chief being the main one, really. Like, what's this guy's vibe around this team? How do they react to him? Does it look and does it feel different this year is what I'm looking to see right off the bat. And then check out their record, check out, how they stack up against some really good teams that they'll come across in their schedule and take it from there. Basically, is this team different? Is there reason to believe that things have changed? Because as you said, we've said running it back is kind of insane. We've done it more times than, I even care to count, and it hasn't worked. It's been the same results. So I am hesitant, nervous, but also excited to see if things have changed here.
Our guy, Dr. Firewater, who has been a day one listener to this podcast, says, stop with the definition of insanity, dude. You're completely ignorant to what the definition is. No, I'm not. The definition of insanity is doing something that doesn't work over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's exactly what's going to happen in this market. They are running it back with guys who are incapable of getting the job done in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, yes, it is a definition of insanity, but I'm sort of tired about talking about it. So
I hear you. I don't know if that guy, it's just a phrase. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. That's just a phrase. But
yes.
it's a big thing because they're the only team in the league that has as much guys. No one else does it. No one else has come close to winning doing it. No one has even tried it because it's kind of wild to put that many dollars in 4 guys. And they did it. Dubas did it. And they were hoping it was enough to get her done. But in the playoffs, those guys don't score very many goals. Like legendarily small amounts of goals. Like the power play, for example, is how do you have that much talent and not score a power play goal? Like when the Edmonton Oilers were on their little run, I think they could have gone, some stat I saw was like they could get like 230 power plays in a row starting now and not score a single one and still have a better percentage than the Leafs did in the 7-game playoffs. It's just like fucking insane how that happens. But they're kind of handcuffed. And I think Treliving would have moved Marner if he could have, if it made sense, if they had the right offer, even anything close to the right offer. Obviously, he didn't, and he's going to remain here. And with all the problems Mitch is dealing with and all the bullshit and him going out in public and him dealing with the media and everything that he's got going on after the firestorm came down, particularly on him, whether you think it's justified or not, that's what he's been dealing with since, the beginning of whatever the playoffs started. He's going to have to prove himself to get out of that hole and to prove to everybody that wasn't justified. We'll see how he handles it, but it seems like he's certainly going to have a Leafs jersey on at the beginning of the season.
Dr. Firewater's rebuttal, which I understand, changed half our decor, changed coach and systems, and season has not started yet. It's not the same team, even different goalies. I
I
beg to
agree.
disagree. I think it's
I
the
agree.
same core guys, and until they change that, it's going to be the same outcome. But I want to hop into a topic that I've been waiting to ask you about for the last 5 or 6 days. I should mention as well, my birthday is coming up August 7th. And I wouldn't be stunned if I end up throwing it at Greta, man. For a good time, you can find Greta, 590 King Street West. Phenomenal food, phenomenal games. I think I'm going to head over there for my 35th birthday. Weekly specials, live sports, over 60 plus arcade games. Let the games begin. Go big. Go to Greta Bar YYZ. You ready to hop into this topic, Rosie?
What do you got? More Mitchy stuff?
So the 6th annual Marner All-Star Invitational took place in Toronto last Thursday and Friday. The event's part of Marner's Marner Assist Foundation charity, helps to generate sustainable change for children and youth by providing resources that will make it a significant impact on their lives. Does a great job with that, has done pretty much since the inception years ago. In all previous years, though, Rosie, aside from the COVID ones, of course, Marner opened the event to the media, which included a red carpet availability where media would ask questions about the Leafs. He didn't do that this year. A bit of a different tone. Local news stations were granted interviews on Friday with the understanding that they would keep the questions about the event. Furthermore, TSN and Sportsnet, and certainly Leafs Morning Take, were told not to attend. Actually, we were told nothing. I don't think we were even invited. But what do you make of Marner doing that amidst everything going on behind the scenes here? Oh no! What?
That's all.
What a
And
spot
everything.
for Rosie to freeze. Oh, you're back. You're back. Okay.
I got her. Sorry. Um, what do you expect though? Say you give the media full access and he gets 1,000. What do you think about some of the heat you were taking at the end of the season? Do you think that was justified? What do you think about being a Maple Leaf? Do you think you'll have a Leafs jersey on by the end of the season? Did you have any other offers to go anywhere? He gives you absolutely nothing. So it's just like, it's a waste of time to put the media on there. Is it kind of a bitch move to say no one's allowed to come to my thing? I don't really think so. Like you said, it's about the children and his charities and doing well for, the things that he's already been doing. So he just kind of wants to keep it about that. I get it. He knows damn well that if he lets the media in, it's just going to be all those questions that he doesn't really have answers to. So why not avoid it? So I'm actually giving Mitchie a pass. I know you thought I was just going to shred him to bits, and you can go ahead and do so. That's fine. But it's just, it's just like those interviews, right? That especially when they're like off ice, a game didn't just happen, and you give them, and they just, especially he's been in Toronto a long time. He's trained in the media. He knows not to say anything because if he does, it gets blown up for, the next month. So there's no point in having the media there to ask him about hockey because it's only going to be one question. There's not going to be a good answer. It's going to be a big bloody waste of time for everybody. So I don't really mind it. It makes sense. I roll my eyes saying, what the hell do you expect to get out of him anyways? Let the guy do his summer, let the guy do his charity and focus on the golf tournament or whatever it is. I kind of get it, man. There's just nothing good going to come of it.
The chat's on edge today. Sir Bob Laws writes in, definition of insanity is calling it YYZ instead of YYZ. So my apologies to everybody. I know we're in Canada. We got to say YYZ, not YYZ. My rebuttal to your remark, I actually agree with you. Having said that, I think if I'm the Marner camp, I rather field those questions and start fielding those questions in mid-July than the shitstorm that's to come in mid-September. Like when Mitch Marner shows up to training camp, there's going to be that initial day and he won't be able to hide behind PR the entire season. He's going to have to answer those questions. And I agree with you. I think this is about the charity. I think if they wanted to do that, they had every reason to do that. I'm not really going to rip on the guy for doing that. The way I viewed it, though, like I rather get ahead of this thing. I know the storm's coming. I know what I want to say. I know I want to be a Maple Leaf. I rather come out with it in mid-July where a lot of media are on vacation at their cottages. It's not going to be as big of a story as it would be to start training camp. I think it's going to be a shit show the first couple of days of training camp.
Well, maybe, but he'll have his PR, their team services guy there to pull him away when need be. But I mean, just picture it, man. He's going to be at camp. he's going to get all the same questions and he's going to deflect them all the same way. All I can say is that I'm proud to be a Maple Leaf. I believe in these guys, love the guys in the locker room, love the city and the fans. And regardless of what's going on, I'm proud to be here. I've worked hard. I'm ready to, focus and focus on the team first. And, we believe in this group and we're going to go ahead and we're excited to have Craig Berube here. And like, fucking who cares, man? He's not going to say anything that matters ever. And the only thing that matters is him going out there. And I believe he's going to go do very well in camp and preseason and start the season well and be one of the top point getters on the team. And that's all good. He's very capable of doing that in the regular season. It's just these guys get to the playoffs and they go away. So why that is, that's up to them. And I know that's a big moment. It's a lot of pressure. You play in Boston and you're in the playoffs and it's just this curse that's on you forever, and you tighten up and they got to find a way to get over that. If they're going to run it back with the core four, those guys better, how many cracks do you need at it to finally, do something different and break out and shed the fucking past and do something big, do your job, do what you're good at. Like, you don't score 70 goals. You don't do everything that these guys have done. You don't be Mitch Marner and then just kind of just shy away when the spotlight's on you, when it's go time, when it's a little bit harder. Mitch, wrap your head around the fact it's going to be hard. You got to drive that puck to the fucking net. You got to take a little hit. It might hurt. You'll be fine. You might have some bruises. You'll be fine. Fucking go. It's the playoffs. Show this. Shove it up this whole city's ass. Shove it up all the fans' asses if that's what you want. He's probably not happy with the fans right now. He probably doesn't like being in Toronto right now. He's getting rinsed, and he has been since, game 4 of the first round of the Stanley Cup Finals against Boston. And, whether you think he deserves that or not is irrelevant. He's got to go answer to it, and I think he's going to go answer with a big regular season, I'm sure. And it's going to be harder and harder to trade him as he does better and better in the regular season, although his value is high. If he has a shitty season and just doesn't have it this year, that's going to be hard to trade him because your value is not going to be that good. But I just foresee him being on the Maple Leafs, obviously, until the trade deadline at least, and maybe furthermore. But it's up to him to how he wants to respond. And he obviously doesn't want to respond to the media at his charity event. That's fine. And he's going to give us the token bullshit at training camp that's going to mean absolutely nothing. And he's going to be so annoyed by the questions, rightfully so, because they're stupid just to ask, because he's not going to give you anything. And then he's going to move on and go play hockey. So is what it is. Whatever's going on in his head is going to be what fuels him this season, and we'll see what the result is.
Yeah, it's well put. I think Marner's going to have a great year. I do think I would add that this notion that the crowd just going to dump on Marner all season long, I don't buy that. As soon as he gets like 4 points in a game, people are going to be cheering and chanting his name. Like, I think in this whole saga, you lose sight sometimes of how good the player truly is in the regular season. He's a top bona fide stud, star, whatever you want to call him, in the regular season. It's the postseason in question. Now, granted, maybe the new coach, maybe some of the new players can uplift and get something and extract a bit more value out of Marner in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But rest assured, I could not agree more. I think he's going to have that Nylander type contract year where surely a guarantee on this podcast at some point we're going to have the conversation. Should they extend Mitch Marner? How much money should they give him? I think he's going to have that type of year.
Oh, I'm sure he will, man. It's and it's tough because it's not like lots of people like Mitch Marner. He's an all-star player for the Toronto Maple Leafs, drafted by them. Nice, smiley kid, by all accounts, nice enough guy, right? So lots of fans he's going to have. And when you rip on him for his performance, people are going to go, oh, not my Mitchie, and they're going to get mad at you. That's fine. But he's a very good hockey player. I mean, that goes without saying. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm saying we're in this position with this amount of money towards only a certain amount of players. Nobody else does that. Nobody who wins does that. So if we've done that a bunch of times, it doesn't fricking work. We don't get out of the first round barely. So we got to change it. Well, how can we change it? Well, you can't move Willie. You just fucking extended him forever. You can't move Tavares. Nobody's going to take a guy making 11 million who's not even worth half of that. And Austin Matthews, he just scored 69 goals. He's your franchise. Okay, you're not moving him. It leaves Mitch Marner, and he was the only guy that you could have done it to, really. You could have done Willie, too. I think that's crazy to say Willie over Mitch. I would change Mitch because of his attitude and his physicality and his, he becomes a bit of a pussy in the playoffs. Plays on the fucking perimeter, gets scared, cuts back, stays away. fucking blows up in his face, they get their asses kicked every year. Tired of watching it. So he's the odd man to me. He's the guy who's out. Move him along because he's an all-star, a very good player. I think you could get something in return. But the biggest kicker is opening up all of his salary cap, especially if you extend him. And he's, of course, going to expect this massive raise. Why? Well, I got good regular season numbers. Like, what's the deciding factor on how much you get paid if you get extended? To me, it's do you get the job done? Have we won with you? Have you gotten us to anywhere close to the promised land? No, no, no. So why would we give you a raise? They're not even going to be able to extend him. So does he walk for free? Maybe. But I would try to trade him now to try to make this season the one that you're trying to go for next year. And you're going to open up John Tavares next year. I get that. But it's just, I was of the ilk of, hey, great player. He's worth something. We are not winning with him. And the way this is set up, he's the only guy that you can kind of move. So move him, get some stuff in return, open up that huge amount of salary cap, and see if you can warp this team and just turn it enough to be effective in the playoffs. That was the mentality for a lot of players, whether you loved Mitch Marner or not. That was what made sense to a lot of people. And I think Tree Living as well. You read between the lines, he wanted to do the same damn thing and just couldn't get the job done. It's a big deal to try to move that man. And he couldn't get it done, obviously. And now we're heading into the season, most likely.
Yeah, bottom line, Marner controls everything. If he doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to go. And we can't sit here and act like we know what transpired behind the scenes over the last month and a half, even dating back to that public conversation with Craig Berube and Mitch Marner. And maybe that played a huge part in this. Maybe they talked to the Marner camp, and the Marner camp was adamant that they didn't want to go anywhere, which is a narrative we did hear earlier on in the offseason. So everything's status quo on the Marner front. Ditto for Jani Hakanpaa, man. Like, by the day, this is getting more and more bizarre. I can't believe it's been 15 days since July 1 when it was reported the Leafs would be inking the 6'7" towering defenseman to a 2-year contract worth $3 million. Brad Treliving even commented on the signing what Hakanpaa would bring to the team on July 1. Yet nothing has been made official, Rosie. We know the knee is in question, but the longer this goes on, the more and more I think about John Klingberg, what happened there.
I know it's pretty odd, man, to announce a signing, but it's not actually signed. And then to have all this gray, area come up. Like, I've been through the physicals for the NHL. Like, they give your knee a little wiggle. And if you don't say, yeah, I got a bad knee, they'll give it a little wiggle and then move up to your, your next part of your body and then look at your ankle. And that's kind of it. Like, yeah, he's cleared. It's not very extensive, to be honest with you. But I mean, I'm sure they knew there was you're not being honest if you don't say I got a bad knee when he's clearly got a bad knee. But just whether, I don't know who wasn't being honest or who missed what, or if nobody understood the severity of what's going on. But it is very odd that this guy was announced and now question marks come up. And it's been this long for them to announce something. Like, we have moved on from the thing. It wasn't what we thought it was, or we have announced the signing because of these reasons. And like, he's been looked at, he's been checked out by the world's best doctors, whatever, or he's going to miss the first 2 months of the season. He's going to get this scope done and clean up some shit. I don't know, whatever it is. I thought there would be an announcement. Like, what are they doing? Is he going to see every doctor in the world? Are they at a stalemate? Is there legal shit going on? Like, I have no idea, but it is very odd to have this guy announced as a signing, during free agency, and then, but it's not official. And there's all these question marks about his health and whether he can ever play again, which is also odd. Like you say, shades of Klingberg of like, we signed him. Let's see how he does. Starts the season, doesn't do very awesome. And then all of a sudden he's done for the whole year. It's wild and odd. And I don't know what's going on, but it does seem like it's taking a long time. I'm surprised there hasn't been some kind of announcement one way or the other so far.
I would just hope they've learned from the Klingberg situation. And the thing that concerns me, it's like a multi-year pact. And obviously they're able to dodge a big-time bullet, sending Klingberg to Robidas Island. That certainly helped from a cap point of view. But you better be like 1,000% sure, I think, that Hakanpaa can play meaningful games for you. Like, if not, if there's any hesitation, any doubt, why not just walk away? Say, you know what, we'll grab that $3 million back, $1.5 million per season, and go allocate that money elsewhere. Like, I don't know if they should feel pressured into making a deal and putting something together. And the other thing I'd bring up, like, Dallas is a really reputable organization, like a team that's been known for its drafting and talent assessment for years. I just wonder, like, why was Dallas so quick to saying, you know what, we're done with Hakanpaa, we're ready to move on. It's not like he's asking for the world. Like, they signed Labushkin over Hakanpaa for like $2 million more. So that leads me to wonder, like, why Dallas is thinking that way, right? Because according to Steve Simmons' report, many around the Dallas Stars felt like Hakanpaa's days were numbered, if not ended, and he wouldn't play another game. So, like, how can a team like Dallas think that? And then apparently Toronto's doctor signed off on it.
It makes me look at Toronto going, well, did you do any due diligence? Did you just
Yeah.
look, did you just pull up hockey DB and look at this guy's, experience, numbers, and the size of him and say, let's grab him? Like, how much due diligence is done? These deals happen, really comes across your desk. You check in with everybody. Yeah. Oh, well, I don't know. He missed a few games. Okay, well, yeah, we'll get him checked out or whatever. Was Dallas or the Hakanpaa camp being fully honest and transparent about what's going on? I don't know, but there's all those moving parts with those deals, no question. And usually these things are like not that big of a deal when you're talking about July 1st camps until later in September. It's like if he does have something wrong with his knee, we can get a doctor in there to, scope him up 6 weeks of rehab, and you're in the gym anyways, and you're good to go. Like, it's not like Bobby Orr style where it's like, I tore my knee, my career might be over. I don't know what's going on with him, but to hear of a guy to have a signing and then almost be like unable to play, he's so injured, is kind of crazy. And my first thought process is the Toronto Maple Leafs due diligence sounds like they didn't do a lot of it. I could be wrong, but sorry, if you go grab this guy and announce it and then get yourself handcuffed and now have to backpedal and then not announce it, and now it's this big gray area where no one knows what the hell's going on, makes me think you kind of had a screw up somewhere along the way.
Bottom line, you better be sure. I know some people are putting it out and have it out there for the publication. And Steve Simmons, he's been around for a long, long time. And again, if you're questioning his reporting, that's one thing. But there's a reason 15 days later, and there's no official signing. Like, I think the guy's onto something. And I know people are hard on Steve Simmons. I get it. But I think there's legs to this. There has to be. Like, it's just bizarre. It really is bizarre when, again, the GM even talks about it and nothing is reported 15 days later. So we'll wait and see on the Hakanpaa front. I think on paper, I think he's a great fit. I think he do a lot of great things on the back end, namely in the 5-6 pairing. Maybe he slots a guy like Liljegren out of the lineup, or maybe Liljegren gets traded. But again, there's a lot of moving parts on paper. It makes a lot of sense. We'll see health-wise what's in store for Hakanpaa moving forward. Meantime, it's time for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Open an account with Bet365 today. Bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Simple conversation for this segment. I'm going to take Austin Matthews to double down and win the Rocket Richard again. You see the odds, by the way, just overwhelmingly in favor of Matthews. And I love the odds coming into this past season where, remember last year was about Connor McDavid. I said, don't sleep on Austin Matthews, not just on this podcast. We've been consistent with that. He is the best goal scorer on the planet. Had a hiccup a couple years ago, very banged up, still scored 40 with one wrist. So I'm all over Matthews again to win the Rocket Richard.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, you look at his one big season, then he kind of had a hiccup the next one, then another big season. We'll see what happens this coming one. He's just very good at scoring goals. I don't know if he can go at the clip that he did last year, if teams will figure him out a little bit, or, maybe he will. Maybe they'll really take off, and who knows? But what are the odds on him? You say that is he the front runner to win the Rocket, do you think?
Rocky, yes, he is.
Wow. Impressive. Yeah. I mean, it's not bad to take him. It's fun to cheer for him. I love futures, throw stuff on him. Picking something that's going to happen in 10 months is always fun, or more like damn near 11 and a half months is when he could get that thing. So a long shot, you throw it out there and the good odds. And it's always fun at the end of the year, seeing your futures, if they're coming to fruition or not. So I love those plays.
It's fun watching a team that is really good in the regular season, but also when you track a guy like Austin Matthews, who's coming off a 69 goal season, and now can he get to 70? Can he get to 75? Tracking that on a daily basis, because this guy's such a freak when it comes to scoring goals. Maybe you look at the number and say, hey, can Matthews get over 65? There's going to be courtesy Bet365, a variety of different routes you can bet Austin Matthews goal scoring wise. So obviously looking forward to September and then into October and watching Matthews play again. Just the guy's an absolute freak of nature when it comes to goal scoring. The best we've seen since modern day Alex Ovechkin, in my opinion, could go down as maybe the best ever, period. Those are heavy words considering some of the elite company around that. But the more and more I watch Austin Matthews, the less, it's surprising anymore. Like just every time the guy does something crazy when it comes to offense and scoring goals. And so looking forward to that. Rosie, great job. Great to reconvene with you. As we mentioned on last week's podcast, when you were gone, we're going to phase down here into our summer programming, which will include 2 live shows or 2 podcasts a week. So we're going to be back together on Thursday to talk about maybe, hopefully not Mitch Marner on Thursday. Maybe we'll give that a breather a bit here.
I know it's tough sledding this time of year. We'll see if 2 days anything new to talk about comes. But hey, maybe we'll get into our personal lives. Maybe we'll get into your dating life and some of that intimate stuff. We'll see. You never know.
Patrick Hamos writes in, bro, no, I love Austin, but best scorer ever, maybe? Nah. Okay. Fair enough. We can have that conversation as this show continues to haul ass in the next 5 to 7 years, 10 years. Just never know. I just saw a guy score 69 goals with relative ease. That's all I'm saying.
It does look easy when he's doing it, and he does it from all different places. Like I know he's got that sweet spot kind of off where Draisaitl kind of likes to score too, but he's not one-dimensional. He scores in lots of different ways, and he scores with such ease. And if he stays healthy and continues to have that confidence, man, and he continues to just pop up like around 60 every year for like quite a few years, and he can pop off like a 75, or it's just like fucking the numbers are going to start adding up, man. He is insane at scoring goals. There's no doubt about it. And I'm glad he's on our team.
Anyway, Slice, it is fun covering Austin Matthews on a daily basis. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Very chipper chat today, I would say. Very hostile at times. People fired up. I get it. It's mid-July. A lot of winds of change were in the air a couple months back. Nothing brewing here on this front. So if anything does happen, you know where to find us at the Leafs Nation 401. Pound that subscribe button. Pound that like button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcasts as well. Thank you to producer Vic. Thank you to Jay Rosehill. Happy 39th birthday once again. And we'll reconvene on Thursday. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.